This video is sponsored by Squarespace. All right, so the DJI Air 3S. Today we're gonna be doing an unboxing and first flight with this drone, which yes, is a mid-cycle refresh. This is the S version of the DJI Air 3, which released back in July of 2023, so a little over a year ago, and this drone here improves upon that same airframe with a couple of key improvements. Now this video is by no means a review video. I'm literally just unboxing this drone for the first time, but because it's a mid-cycle refresh, because it's the Air 3S, and because it looks very similar to the older Air 3, I just quickly want to highlight some of the changes made with this drone so you can understand what we're going to be expecting when we finally get into our first flight and do our review video of this drone. So the main changes come by way of the camera and the obstacle avoidance system, and because of those changes made to the hardware, it also unlocks some new software features that DJI has built into this drone. Now, as you guys know, I do get these drones early to review, so I've actually already posted my review video. You're kind of watching these out of order as this gets posted the day after the drone was released, my unboxing and first flight, because I do like to capture that first emotion, that first experience with the drone. But if you want to learn about all the nuances of this drone, I highly recommend you check out my review video, as again, this is more of a candid first impression of this drone. Now, with that said, before we tear this box open, I do quickly want to share my thoughts on mid-cycle refreshes and technology releases in general. I feel like we've gotten to a point with technology where you don't need to upgrade any of your devices every single year. And I think the iPhone is a perfect example of this. I myself am on the upgrade program, so I get the new iPhone every year. I basically rent my phone, I pay for it throughout the year, send in my old phone, get a new one every single year, and I feel like the changes are just so subtle. But when I talk to somebody that's upgrading from, say, the iPhone 12 or iPhone 13, and they skip 3 or 4 generations, they see this huge change. Literally just this year, going from iPhone 15 to iPhone 16, I had to get it in a new color other than black just to feel like I was actually getting something different. Now, with that said, when you look at the Air 3S having such little improvements over the Air 3, you've got to wonder, who is this drone made for? Who is going to be buying this drone? And it's probably not for you out there that already own the Air 3. This drone is for somebody that maybe owns the Air 2 or the Air 2S and just needed an extra bump to want to upgrade. They might have looked at the Air 3 and said, you know what, it's a good drone, but doesn't have enough upgrades for me. But now with the Air 3S, the 1-inch sensor, the new LiDAR obstacle avoidance, that is something that I want to upgrade to. And I think that this just comes down to the general principle that we don't need to buy everything each and every single year. We can hold back, we can make reservations and not go and buy the new shiny thing, even if it's just this mid-cycle refresh. So again, I think if you own an Air 3, this probably isn't the drone for you, but if you own an older drone and you're finally looking for something to move up to, the Air 3S is great. So I don't think that they should stop making mid-cycle refreshes. I don't think that they should stop releasing a new iPhone every year. I just think that you need to understand what's going to be best for you. Should you upgrade or shouldn't you upgrade? And that's really going to be your own personal choice. Now, by way of DJI, with their mid-cycle refreshes, if you're keeping track, they've done 2 of them over the recent years, one of them being the Air 2 to the Air 2S, and then the Mavic 3 to the Mavic 3 Pro, both of which introduced new camera systems, but the Air 2S was a little bit more of an upgrade as it also gave us a new obstacle avoidance system as well as a new transmission system. Looking at both of those mid-cycle refreshes, the Air 2S is the drone I really want to focus on because I think that this is one of the best drones that DJI has ever released. I think that for its price and for its form factor, the specs that it had inside and for its size were phenomenal. This is the drone that I would constantly recommend to anybody, whether you were looking to fly for fun or you're looking to fly as a professional. This drone could do it all. Remember when the only drone you could buy with a 1-inch sensor was the Phantom 4 Pro, this huge drone? Then you had the Mavic 2 Pro, a little bit bigger than this, and then they put the 1-inch sensor into a drone of this size. It really was impressive, and you felt like with the Air 2S, they were finally getting everything they could out of this body style. You look at the Air 2S versus the older Air 2 camera, which just looks small and puny and kind of wimpy. The same goes for the camera on the Mavic 3. When you look at the newer mid-cycle refresh on the Mavic 3 Pro, it just feels like the camera that should have been there off the start. The Mavic 3's camera with just the 1x and 7x lenses really looks small compared to that larger camera system. This is a debate that is truly going to go on for as long as time is ticking. Could they have just given us all of the things in the Air 3S with the Air 3 and called it a day? Or are they looking to make more sales of a drone? They kind of limit the Air 3 and then come out with a much better version a year later, forcing people to want to upgrade. Again, I am never gonna know the truth. I've got no idea if this technology could have existed a year ago, but regardless, I'm not going to tell DJI to stop releasing drones and stop pushing the boundary forward, especially when they're the only consumer drone manufacturer. I mean, really, who else is out there making consumer drones that are the level of DJI? There's really not anybody right now. So with that said, why don't we finally get this box open? I have got the Fly More bundle here that comes with the RC2, and really I'm expecting to have very similar stuff inside of this box as came in the Air 3 bundle as well. So this is literally not opened yet. We will tear the seal off the top there, pop open the top, and I'm expecting, as usual, that it comes inside of the bag. So we are gonna get a bag with the Air 3S Fly More combo. I do notice that the bag that comes with the Air version of the drones is usually a little bit smaller, a little bit more stout, and I actually have come to really enjoy using these bags. I typically am a backpack guy, so I'll usually take the drone out of here and throw it inside the backpack I already have, but if you're somebody that's just buying this drone for the first time and you want to carry it around, this is going to be your best bet. I'd also always recommend getting the Fly More combo because you get all the accessories and batteries. So when you open up the bag here, you have some of the propellers in here. You have the drone itself inside of this packaging. You've got some, I think, ND filters maybe inside of here. We'll confirm that shortly. You've got the RC2, and then you've got the charging hub as well as all of the batteries inside of there. So that's everything that comes inside of the case. I'll kind of put that over to the side, and we'll just go through and kind of tear open some of the plastic. Now, I want to know if I was right. Are these ND filters? It'd be nice if it came with ND filters. I am guessing that they are. Yep, that's awesome. So it does come with ND filters in the box. That definitely is a nice savior. We get the ND8, ND32, and ND128. I think that that's a very good range to have inside of the box. Now, we of course also have the multi-charger as well as the 2 extra batteries. This is standard with the Air 3, meaning that it's the same exact design that we had from the Air 3. So if you've got older Air 3 batteries, they will work with the Air 3S. The RC2 is also just as we have come to expect and know and love. This is the controller that works with the Neo, the Mini 4 Pro, and the Air 3. So this is the RC2 with the built-in screen. Inside of here, we have a bunch of extra propellers. I'm not gonna go tearing that open because those are just all propellers. And then finally, we have the drone itself. We're waited to show the best for last, which will reveal the new camera and new LiDAR system here on the front. So we'll go ahead, we'll remove the gimbal cover, which is definitely bigger than what comes on the Air 3. And there we are. There is that new camera, which is much larger, and the forward-facing LiDAR system. So, Air 3S, let's do a quick side-by-side comparison with the Air 3. I'm gonna say that the body style is exactly the same, which is probably, par for the course with mid-cycle refreshes. And again, really the biggest thing to expect is the change to that LiDAR as well as the camera. So there's our quick unboxing. If you've had the Air 3 or if you've seen unboxing of the Air 3, you pretty much have the same stuff that comes inside of the box with both of these drones. But with that said, let's go outside and test this drone and fly it for its first time. But before we do that, here's a quick word from this video sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is my all-in-one tool to share and manage my content. The layout that I've chosen gives me the ability to share my videos, photos, and general information with my audience on my own terms, so I get to choose how it's displayed. I was able to fully customize the experience of my website quickly and efficiently thanks to their many templates that got me started. All the elements that Squarespace offers gives me many different options to feature the images and content on my web pages. This also makes my website easy to maintain over time, so I can spend less time updating my website and more time creating. You can get a jumpstart on your own website using design intelligence that leverages AI for a faster design. This allows you to build a personalized website that fits you or your business's needs. Aside from being a digital portfolio for my work, Squarespace has also become my main way of operating my business on the daily. From accepting payments from clients, sending invoices, and being able to operate my own digital store, I couldn't imagine doing business without it. To keep on top of how my website is performing, Squarespace's analytics go in depth so that I can see how much traffic my website is getting, what area my website is being viewed the most, and I can see which web pages and which content is performing the best. So a big thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this video and helping me display my work online for over half a decade. Okay, so while I was setting up this drone, I found some potentially game-changing information. The Air 3S is the fastest folding drone that DJI has ever made, with a maximum speed of 60 miles per hour in sport mode. That makes this faster than the old Air 3, the Mavic 3 series, and even the older Phantom 4 Pro, which was a bigger drone with bigger motors. The Air 3S is faster than all of them. And that's something that I am so excited to check out because I've been asking for a faster drone for years. So let's get this drone up in the air. I'll tell you what, the one thing I always forget is just how quiet the Air series of drones is. Definitely a good benefit to have. Now, as we know, the very first thing I like to do is zip straight down the river. And what we're gonna do is a speed test with drone to see just how fast we can get this thing. 60 miles per hour in sport mode is the maximum speed. Just to share with you, if you click on the 3 dots in the top right corner, and then if you go to control and you scroll down to gain and expo tuning and go to sport, look at that. Max horizontal speed, 60.4 miles per hour, and the maximum ascent and descent speed is 22.4 miles per hour, which is also up from 17 miles per hour as a maximum in the older Air 3. Okay, sport mode, engaged, flying down the river, and we pretty much have no wind today. So we should be able to reach that top speed, no problem. So we're already at 31, 32, 33. Oh, I'm in normal mode. Okay, sport mode now engaged. 46, 48, whoa, it jumped right up there. 53, 54, 55. This is crazy. 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 60.2. That is an insane speed for a folding drone. I just saw 61 miles per hour. Now, I feel like out in the open, when we just have the drone flying down the water, you really can't tell a difference between, say, the maximum of 47 miles an hour, which we've had with all of these drones for the longest time, and now 60. But I feel like if you wanted to chase after a car or chase after a boat or anything like that, you would begin to feel that speed difference just because it would give you the ability to actually keep up with the car. Okay, so that is insane. 60 miles per hour. Again, I've been asking for a faster folding drone forever now. And something that I really appreciate is, since I'm flying here, let's even do a test here. We'll try to pitch the camera up at, let's say, 5 degrees. It looks like maybe we have a little bit of a headwind going upriver. So let's fly back. What I really want to see is when we reach that maximum speed of 60 miles an hour, do we have any sort of gimbal limitation? So if you remember with older DJI drones, the way that the gimbal was put underneath of the drone, it almost had a hood above it. So if you started flying in sport mode and the aircraft started pitching too far forwards, that top cover would get in the way of the camera and it would automatically shoot down so that you didn't see the top of the drone, which was very limiting. And it would kind of be nice if we could fly at 60 miles an hour with no gimbal limitations, which at 0 degrees going down, I saw nothing, but let's push it. Let's push this gimbal up to 6 degrees, 50 miles an hour, no gimbal limitation. I don't see anything popping in the top of the frame. 57, 58, 59. I mean, look at this. So we are up to 60 miles an hour. Let's push the gimbal up. Wow, look at that. Look at all of the rotation that we get facing upwards. 29 degrees, almost at full speed here. That is very impressive. Okay, so there are plenty of things that I want to test out here in this video, even though the Air 3S kind of feels like a mid-cycle, or it is a mid-cycle refresh, but it might feel like there's not many changes. I think there are actually quite a bit to test out. So the first of which was the speed. That's insane. 60 miles an hour is going to be so much fun to use when chasing after boats. I like to go down the Jersey Shore and chase after some of the Viking yachts that are leaving, say, Cape May. That's always a lot of fun. And now being able to use the top speed is just going to give me the ability to really chase after them. Also, the maximum descent and ascent speed has been upgraded, so 22 miles an hour instead of 17. So let's go ahead and push the drone up. We can climb pretty fast. Look at how quickly the height is going up. We are going to eventually go up just at 400 feet. And it does take just a second to reach that maximum speed, but now that we're up here at 300 feet, 380 feet, let's try to dive down. Wow, that got to 22 miles an hour fast, and look at how quickly the height is changing. Whew. If you actually look at the drone, it is like diving down quick, but it recovers nice and fast. The one thing that I love about the Air 3 airframe, from the original Air 3 to now the Air 3S, is it just feels so agile and nimble. Okay, so The other big thing is the camera. Now, I can tell you right now from looking through the screen and the sun shining in my eyes, it's really difficult to tell whether this is a good image or not. I would assume that the image is good and has been upgraded. In fact, I can see a lot of detail coming through the screen just being transmitted. I do have all of my camera settings on automatic just because we're doing our first flight and buzzing around. But as you guys know, one thing I love to do is do a nice little reveal up and over manual. So why don't I take manual control here? Oh, I actually accidentally put it into full auto. So I have the auto shutter on. I'm going to turn that off and just let it sit at 120 because we are shooting 4K 60. And then the white balance, I'm going to tone that down because I think that 6800 is a little bit warm. Why don't we try something like 5800? There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead. We'll drop the drone down and look at this in the bottom left corner. We can now see the vision positioning sensors downwards in our vision assist mode, which is kind of cool. I would assume that that can be used in any DJI drone. I wonder if they're going to update like the Air 3 and the Mavic 3 to be able to do that, but cool to see it here in this early firmware. All right, so we'll go ahead and do a reveal. I've already set up this drone so that it flies exactly how all of my other DJI drones fly, so the same gain and expo settings. And that's why I found the, the top speed of the drone being 60 miles an hour, which is just insane. I mean, the drone feels great. It feels just like any other Mavic folding style drone you'd get from DJI. I mean, we're flying a little bit later in the day, and now that it's fall, we are starting to get these deep shadows. It's going to be interesting to see what the dynamic range looks like when we get this on the computer and from what you guys are looking at. From what I can tell right away, it's nice that we can still see the blue in the sky. I know sometimes that drone video can just completely forget the sky and blow the sky out, but in terms of our, oh, look, there's a train. Let's chase it. Oh, this is our moment right here. 60 miles per hour, top speed of the drone. Usually these trains will go at about 40-ish miles per hour. Total pivot there. I just totally lost signal. Interesting. That was like a you crashed type of signal spike. All right, now we're going 51 miles an hour. We're keeping up with that train, no problem. Now, usually the maximum speed of, say, the Mavic 3 or the Air 3 is 47 miles an hour, which right now we're doing about 47. And it seems like in order to reach that top speed of 60 miles per hour, you almost need to like be just flying in one direction and not changing the direction of the drone in any way. You kind of just need to be single-handedly flying in one direction without any sort of deviation, or else it's going to start to back off of that maximum speed, which I can totally understand. And I think it's insane that out of the same exact airframe of the Air 3, they can give you more speed, which is just awesome. I'm guessing they probably achieved that by giving the drone a little bit of a greater pitch range. So I think I did see that within the specs that I was reading, but regardless, more speed is great. Now, another thing that I want to kind of test out is these vision positioning sensors. So we do now have vision positioning sensors that can apparently work better in low light. So not only do we have this forward-facing LiDAR now, but we also have improved sensors from what I'm told. And I can tell you right now, just from sitting right here, I'll pull up those vision positioning sensors. It doesn't seem like they are really improved in terms of quality. It still is a fairly low resolution image, but what I'm seeing here is much better dynamic range. Like I feel like in an image like this, when you look at where the shadows are, where the cars are passing, where the highway is, that would usually be completely pitch black. So therefore, when I'm using vision assist, it's kind of difficult to tell what's in the way, and it would almost expose for the sky. And it also would probably make it harder on the drone to actually see what's around it. So it's kind of cool that they've made some strides to actually improve the sensors that we have, which is ultimately going to improve the autonomy of the drone, whether we have the drone following us and, you know, performing active track, or if we're just buzzing around and wanted to, you know, look out for obstacles for us. So those I think are like the biggest changes: camera, vision assist, or the obstacle avoidance sensors, and the speed, 60 miles an hour. Again, I can't believe it. I've been asking for years for them to improve that, and now they finally have. Okay, I'm gonna put my shutter back on auto. One of the final things that we do is we go ahead and we zip down the train tracks. There's not really any trains, which kind of sucks. Maybe we'll keep it over the water. But hey, check this out in the top right corner. With 57% left, we've got about 22 minutes of hovering time. So the flight time in this drone is great. In fact, the flight time is just a little bit less than what you get on the Air 3, although that makes sense because we do have a bigger camera with more weight. man, this drone can just get after it. Like as soon as you go, it just rips right up to 40 miles an hour. It wastes no time whatsoever. Let's go down here and fly a little bit lower. I feel like this is like not even a talking point anymore, but the image transmission is great as well, 55 miles an hour. When you get close to something, like when you're flying low and you get close to all these trees, you can feel that speed a lot more than if you're flying higher. We've got some wires just above the drone there we've got to watch out for. I think in my FPV drone first flight, I almost nailed those wires, but that was a hard lesson learned. Okay. So the new camera, it looks great. I'm going to have to kind of wait to give my opinion on it until I actually see the footage coming off of it. Why don't we go and why don't we try and capture the skyline with the 3X camera? So I'm going to stop recording. You're going to see a little bit of a black screen here. We'll flip over to the 3X camera. We'll start recording, and now we're going to have to make some slight adjustments here. So we do have the ND32 filter on. I'm going to bump the ISO up to 200. And let's just go ahead. We got a nice plane landing there. That makes for a pretty epic shot. The 70mm focal length really is nice. I think that it's a perfect mixture. On the Mavic 3 Pro and just Mavic 3 series in general, I feel like I never find myself using the 166mm tele camera. That's just me. I find that it might be just a little bit too long to use for drone flights, but the 70mm really is perfect. It gives you a great amount of zoom. And of course, this is a 48 megapixel sensor, so we should get some really good shots out of it. I'm gonna flip over back to the 1X, start recording, and I'm gonna make my way back. So I've always loved the Air series of drones. Like for me, it was always such a perfect middleman that was less expensive than the more professional Mavic drone, but also just a little bit better than the Mini. Like I know when I'm flying the Mini, it can kind of be annoying to deal with wind, but with this drone being as powerful as it is, the Air 3, I wouldn't mind flying this down the shore where you have higher winds. And I also wouldn't mind flying it in scenarios where you want to chase after a subject. Like the Mini is just so small and tiny that even trying to chase that train would have been impossible, but this makes light work out of it. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up my first flight here of the Air 3S. If you guys are interested in this drone, I'm gonna leave a link down below to learn a little bit more about it in my review video. As you guys know with these videos, I usually go and I do my first flight and unboxing when I first get the drone, post my review video, and this is the second video out. So be sure to go and check out my review video as that's gonna be linked down below. And also let me know what you think of the Air 3S. Make sure to leave that down in the comments. This drone is just so powerful, it can zip so fast. I'll tell you what, it looks more filled out with the camera as well. The older camera on the Air 3 just looked a little bit tiny. This one looks just right. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll talk to you later. Peace.